Everybody's Dr. Joe's in the house on this cool Wednesday here in the Washington, D.C. area. And if you own 401ks or stocks, I'm sure you're having a whirlwind up and down. That's crazy. Every day, something else. Anyway, I go off topic. Hope you're having a great day. And thought I'll talk about renovation strategies, effective renovation strategies. Specifically for a BRRRR, but I mean, this is just general now, given the uncertainty of the market, for you fix and flippers and for those people doing BRRRRs. I think, it's really important that if we're going to do it, we do it properly. Renovations, rehabs can make or break deals, and they can eat into your profits. And so I thought it'd be appropriate to, given the uncertainty of the market, then we need to make sure that if we're going to do this, we do it properly. And we understand, the good, the bad, the ugly, and what can make or break you. So I thought it'd be a good topic, and then hence the reason why I'm covering it today. Again, the title is Effective Renovation Strategies for BRRRR Investments. But it's not just limited to BRRRR. It could just as well be for any types of renovations, whether it be fix and flips or whatever. Okay, let's get going. So, the bottom line is, are renovation mistakes eating way into your profits, especially your BRRRR projects, even before you reach the refinancing stage? I've done some rehabs, obviously, a lot of them. Well, first of all, a primer. For those people who don't know, BRRRR, BRRRR, is buy, renovate, rent, refinance, repeat. Is a term that was coined up by, what's the name again? Oh, gosh, Bigger Pockets. Oh, I'm sorry, slipped my mind now. And it'll come back to me. Famous host at Bigger Pockets, and so on. So put it in the chat box to remind me. Anyway, so many really new, intermediate, and seasoned. Brandon Turner, that's it, Brandon Turner. Many new, intermediate, and even seasoned investors fall into a costly trap during the renovation phase, a phase that, it can make or break the entire BRRRR strategy. Renovations are, where the profit margins are created, and it also can be destroyed. I've learned that the hard way. But with the right approach, what starts as a promising investment can quickly spiral into an over budget, delayed, and underperforming asset. So in this live stream today, we're going to unpack the good, the bad, the ugly of BRRRR renovations, drawing lessons learned from real investors, including myself, who have succeeded and failed. So you can build, hopefully, a stronger, more sustainable residential real estate portfolio. So that's what we're going to do today. So let's get to it. So number one is, I broke into 6 parts. Number one is setting the right renovation goals. You need to really have that defined from the get-go. So the question is, are you clear on your renovation goals before you start? Or do you know what the end game is before you start? Because if you don't, you're going to run into some problems. So it's really important that you really understand what the goals are. In my opinion, the most successful investors begin renovations with a clear, measurable objectives. Are you renovating for maximum appraised value? Is that your goal? Are you trying to renovate to attract long-term tenants? Are you renovating to meet Section 8 requirements that we'll call Housing Quality Standards, HQS standards? Or are you, rehabbing just to get past code and so on? So whatever it is, you have different goals, different objectives, but it's important that you know what they are. So because knowing these upfront really guides every other decision. Because if you skip, really defining what your goals are, you could be making cosmetic upgrades that don't increase the ARV or don't appeal to the right tenant demographic that you're trying to attract. One investor, who I know, shared he did I think it's $7,000 or $10,000 kitchen upgrade. Not a whole lot, but it did. The goal was to get a higher appraisal, but it didn't. Why? Because the neighborhood where the property was didn't support high-end finishes. It was I think a D or E neighborhood, and he's put all these high-end stuff in there. And, he did all this work, but it didn't increase the value of the house. So it was really wasted. Another investor saw incredible ROI from adding a half bathroom in a 3-bedroom unit, which increased the rental income by $250. You know me, and what I do, I add bedrooms. So I typically buy a 3-bedroom house, turn it into a 4, 5, or 6-bedroom house, and increase the rental income in the DC area from maybe by $1,000, $2,000 a month. So to me, those things add great ROI value. So your renovation must align with your exit strategy, whether that's refinancing it, renting it, or flipping. Avoid vague goals like make it look nice or modernize the unit, modernize the property. Instead, define what success looks like to you. A specific ARV, after repair value target. Is that what the goal is? Would that be successful? An estimated rent price, is that success? Or you want to complete the project in a certain time period, is that success? So these benchmarks keep you and your contractor accountable. Okay, so what's some of the action items associated with setting the right renovation goals? Things that you can do: define your renovation goals clearly before you begin, as I mentioned earlier on. Align your renovation scope with your exit strategy, whether it be to refinance, rent, or to sell. And set ARV, after repair value, and rent targets based on recent comps. And in a changing market like we're in, I mentioned that ARV is kind of subjective because if you're in a declining market or a soft market, you may think that you're going to get this price, but the market could be still softer when you complete your project. So you may get less. So you have to be a lot more conservative during these current times, rather than trying to be too aggressive and say, yeah, well, I know a house around the corner that sold for da 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 da. Yeah, well, that may be true, but by the time you finish your renovations, the market could have softened, and therefore that old price is no longer valid. Okay, so go on to number two. Number two is really let's have a look. What am I going to do here? I think I got it wrong here. It's really called understanding your market, and the question is, are you renovating for the market you're in, or in the market that you used to be in? Okay, so you renovate for today's market or a market that maybe is outdated. So one of the most common renovation mistakes investors make is over improving a property for the local market. Just because granite countertops and walk-in showers appeal to you doesn't mean that that'll boost the property value in a working class rental market. Understanding your tenant base is essential to choosing upgrades that add value and keep your maintenance costs down. So experienced investors, we recommend things like, at least I do anyway, clean, durable, and functional design and implementation as the golden rule. I use granite countertops because they're durable as opposed to Formica, and I like LVP flooring versus hardwood flooring because LVP flooring is more durable and it's a little bit cheaper than hardwood, and also it's more durable, especially in a situation where water is around. And and so on. So the idea is that you want to use fittings, fixtures, and those items. That's going to be your goal at the end game. So one landlord in a C-class neighborhood or a D-class neighborhood said his best performing units used like mid-grade finishes that look great in photos, but were also cheap and easy to replace in the event that's damaged by the tenants. So do the research for your area. Research what other competing rentals are doing or going for in your area where you are. Sometimes cheap is not the best. Sometimes you get what you pay for. And but do your research, and if you can, sometimes it's better to pay a little bit more to get more durable, long-standing, lasting materials. You want your unit to stand out just enough to attract tenants quickly without overspending. You don't want to spend too much because otherwise you'll blow your budget. Remember, renovation is not about your taste. It's not about you. It's about the market, what the market wants, what the market's for the seller, the buyers, I suppose, and also for tenants, things like that. So what's the action items associated with understanding your market? I would say that analyze your target tenant profile before choosing finishes. What kind of tenant are you looking for? What's the typical profile? Do they expect high-end, mid-level, low-grade? Research local comps to find benchmark standard features. Look at MLS photographs and see what other people are doing. Look at Zillow and so on. Avoid over-improving because you can always spend more on these rehabs, but at some point it's like what's the right word? Law of diminishing returns. You can spend more and more money, but it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get a higher ARV or you're not going to get any more rent. So avoid over improving, focus on durability and low maintenance, something that's going to last, something that's, kind of doesn't require you to constantly, make changes. So choose upgrades that are cost effective and visually appealing. So that's number 2. We're going to number 3, which is managing the renovation budget. And I suppose the question is, are you managing the budget like a business owner? Are you managing your budget like a business owner? Renovations, budgets can quickly balloon, do I know, without careful oversight. You really do need to manage that because on these projects, you're thinking, oh, wouldn't it be nice to do this? Wouldn't it be nice to do that? Wouldn't it be nice to spend, you could keep on going. And next thing you know, your budget is blown. You may have set aside 5 or 10% overage, and now you're into 10, 15, 20, 25% overage. So successful investors track every dollar spent. I track every dollar that I spend. You categorize the expense into electrical, plumbing, mechanical, carpentry. That's what I do anyway. And you also constantly compare your actual costs to the budgeted projections. So you make a budget beforehand. You have a scope of work, and you estimate how much it's going to cost. And then you track that against that and make the necessary adjustments as necessary. Because poor budgeting is often the result of underestimating labor costs, failing to account for permits, or skipping a contingency buffer. I typically use about 10 to 15% as a contingency. Other people do 15 to 20%. It just depends on you. Another thing is that some people use project management software to track spending in real time. If you don't track, as the saying goes, the project can fail through a death by 1,000 cuts. $100 here, $200 there, $500 there, and ultimately they just crush your margins. So you end up making no money, and I've done that. You do all this work and then end up making no money. In fact, it's devastating. Also, it's really important to understand what we call the cost benefit for each item. Does it make sense to spend $3,000 on landscaping, but it won't move the needle in terms of give you more rent? It won't even give you a higher appraisal. So what's the cost of that $3,000 landscape versus the benefit, giving you goals? Does it make any sense? So really, if you can, every dollar should have a purpose. So one of the action items associated with managing the renovation budget, create a detailed renovation budget and track actual versus projected costs. Include the contingency, 10, 15, 20% for unexpected expenses. Categorize expenses by labor, materials, permits, and holding costs, and whatever you want to do. And evaluate your expenses by your ROI impact, return on investment impact. If I spend $1, how much will it return me? Okay, so we're kind of halfway through the 6 items. Again, if you got some questions, please put it in the chat box. And we're going to have the Ask Dr. Joe session in about 10 minutes, 15 minutes from now. So anything to do with real estate, investing, landlording, Section 8, any issues that you're facing, challenges that you're experiencing, please put them in the chat box and I'll get to them shortly. If you want more detailed one-on-one time with me, you can always book a one-on-one by going to my website, www.joeasamoah.com, www.joeasamoah.com, and we can do a one-on-one. I did another one yesterday, in fact, with Richard. Hi, Richard. Hopefully you're doing well. We had a good session. Richard's scenario was that he has a house, and he was, thinking about a couple of houses, thinking of selling it. We kind of went through the scenarios. Good area, good location, and I think he's just going through a little frustration. But we kind of walked through it, and I think the net result is that he decided that it makes more sense to keep the houses rather than selling them. In the short term, it may sound good, but in the long term, given the location, it's probably a decision that he'd probably regret 5-10 years from now. So we had a great session, and had another session a couple of days beforehand. So again, if there's no point, in my opinion, trying to figure this stuff out yourself. Leverage my 35 years worth of experience. There aren't a whole lot of scenarios I haven't seen, and I've stepped on the landmines. I know where they are. I know how devastating it can be, and there's really no advantage really trying to struggle and fight this thing yourself. I had another session of the weekend with Amber. Great session, and kind of work through some issues and challenges for her, and hopefully we'll put together a game plan that will get her to complete the project that she's currently on. So again, it's they're real good sessions. Just schedule one-on-one with me, www.joeasamoah.com. We can do a deep dive into whatever situation that you may be having. Okay, so let's keep moving on. Number 4, hiring and managing contractors, the eternal contractors. Oh my gosh. Contractors. So the question is, are you working with the right contractors? Contractors can make or break you. A great contractor, in my opinion, can make you money. A bad one can destroy your investment. They can be your worst nightmare. And I've had all types of contractors. The guys who show up drunk, guys you got to fight with, the guys that don't have any car, so you got to pick them up, you got to take them to Home Depot, you got to stay with them. Guys who are just constant drama and fussing and always commotion going on. I've had those. I've kind of graduated from that, and now I have some great contractors who I work with all the time. Yeah, a great contractor can make you money. A bad one can destroy your investment, also can destroy your motivation and your goals. So one of the biggest BRRRR horror stories comes from hiring the wrong people. Those guys, delays, shoddy work, and vanishing acts. They just disappear. They're all too common. Seasoned investors I recommend building a reliable contractor team before you even close on the property. Know who your contractor is going to be, shop around, get some referrals, check them out, do your necessary investigations beforehand. And so that way you take on a project that you can actually complete. Always check your references or their references. Ask for photos of past work and confirm that they do have licenses and insurance. So set clear expectations for your project in a written scope of work. I like to have detailed scope of work. That way everyone's on the same page as to what its expectations are. And, I use milestones based payment schedules. So if they do A, then they get paid for A. If they do B, then you get paid for B, and so forth, rather than just arbitrary payment. And also avoid front loading your payments, i.e. paying too much up front, because they can take your money and run off and disappear, and you'll never see them again. That's happened to me. One investor shared to me how, she only releases funds after walkthroughs of completed work. So if you're a rehabber, typically hard money lenders will have drawers, maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 drawers, where they come before money is released, they confirm, a third party confirms that the work has actually been done. So therefore, there's always somebody who's confirming that progress has been made, and you don't front load or pay the contractor for work which they haven't done. But the key is communications. Do daily or weekly check-ins. I do weeklies. And really the goal is to prevent misunderstanding and keep the project on track. There are various tools that you can use, simple ones like WhatsApp, Google Drive, Trello, Microsoft Office products. All these things can help manage updates, and really you can share your photographs through WhatsApp, videos, and so on. Okay, so what's the action steps associated with hiring and managing contractors? Vet all your contractors thoroughly before hiring them. Use a written scope of work with clear milestones. Set up a regular communications and project updates. Avoid paying more than 30% up front, and use progress payments. Okay, let's keep going. Number 5 of 6. I got one more after this one. I thought it was appropriate to talk about timing and scheduling your renovations. I suppose the question is, are you timing the renovations for maximum efficiency? What does that mean? It means that time is money, especially in real estate, especially in BRRRR, where your holding costs can really eat into your profits. So really efficient renovation timelines help you get the property rented and refinanced faster. So successful investors treat timelines almost like non-negotiable items, and they plan backwards from their refinance date. So what does that mean? Scheduling contractors accordingly, ordering materials in advance, overlapping tasks where possible, i.e. you can paint the walls and cabinets at the same time. All these little things you can do to the schedule can shave weeks off a project, assuming you got good contractors, of course. And so one investor revealed how he lost, $4,000 or $5,000 just in holding costs by not coordinating his tradespeople effectively. What I mean by that, for instance, I have a certain sequence for my rehabs. You got demo. You do when you get the inspections out of the way, you do roughing. You may do the HVAC first, and then the plumbing, and then the electrical, and then the framing, framing, and then the HVAC, plumbing, and then electrical. So I have a sequence as my projects are done based on experience. That's something you have to coordinate with the contractors, make sure that people are ready when you need them, and the project's moving on and on track. Because delays, can often be attributed to poor planning, permit issues, or contractor no-shows. They don't just show up. They say they're going to be there 5 days a week. They're there for a couple of days. The rest of the time, they're on somebody else's jobs. So your project's not moving along, or they may have one person there instead of 5, a crew of 5 or 6 people. So, so you can mitigate some of these things by having a detailed renovation calendar. Make sure you have allocate buffer time for things like inspections. And if you have to, have a backup crew just in case you have to fire these guys. I've done that before. So what are some of the action items associated with timing and scheduling? Create a renovation timeline and plan backwards and refinance from the refinance date. Pre-order materials and coordinate delivery with project milestones. Overlap tasks to reduce downtime, and also account for permit and inspection delays in your timeline. And then finally, number 6 is really designing with tenants in mind. Designing with tenants in mind. So if you're going to rent it, if you're going to use the BRRRR, obviously, ultimately, you're going to refinance, or you're going to get a tenant, and then you're going to refinance. So the question is, are you renovating with the tenant in mind? Are you renovating with the end user in mind? Well, a well-renovated property isn't just about value, it's also about livability. Long-term tenants, that's what I love. Long-term tenants stay in homes that feel safe, functional, and well-maintained. Investors who design with tenants in mind typically reduce turnover, lower maintenance calls, and increase tenant satisfaction. Simple upgrades like bright lighting, ample storage, and neutral paint can make a real big difference. Kind of avoid those trendy things. What's hot today? Maybe hot today, but maybe cold tomorrow. Also, it's more for a niche type of client tenant pool. So I tend to have neutral colors, contractor grade items to appeal to a larger audience. Some people, in fact, I think like washer dryers into their units. They find that to be very effective. I didn't used to do that, but I now do that. Well, here in this DC area, if you have a washer dryer, you get more money, you get more rent. So that's the reason why I do it. Also, it makes it easier for the tenant, and they tend to stay longer because it's just a lot more convenient to wash their clothes in the house rather than going off to a laundromat and so on. So tenant-friendly design also means easy to clean surfaces, energy-efficient appliances, and security features like smart locks or even cameras. These small investments lead to happier tenants who treat the home with respect. So what are some of the action items associated with designing with tenants in mind? Choose neutral, welcoming designs, choices that appeal to a wide audience. Install tenant-friendly upgrades like smart locks, efficient lighting, and easy-to-clean surfaces. Focus on comfort, security, and functionality. And finally, think long-term. Design choices should reduce future maintenance calls. Okay, so in conclusion, wrap it up for today. Effective renovation strategies are really the engine that powers the BRRRR model. And when executed well, they can significantly boost your ARV after repair value, increase your rental income, attract quality tenants, and speed up your refinance timeline. But when mishandled or not done properly, renovations can lead to ballooning costs, tenant turnover, and diminished returns. So as we learned from both the successes and failures of experienced investors like myself and others, the key lies in the planning with precision, budgeting with discipline, hiring the right team, and always keeping your tenant and market in mind. Okay. So whether you're just starting out or looking to scale your portfolio, mastering renovation strategy isn't really optional. It's really essential. So every decision that you make during the renovation stage has a ripple effect on the long-term profitability of your investment. So by applying the lessons in this live stream, hopefully you'll be better equipped to avoid the pitfalls and position you and your properties for lasting success. So my friends, that's it for the education part. As usual, if you got some questions, please put in the chat box. I'm going to get to them in about 2 or 3 minutes. Anything to do with real estate, if you want me to answer any questions, any challenges or issues that you're having, Section 8, landlording, acquiring new properties, evicting people, whatever it is, throw them in the chat box and I'll do my best to get to them in about 1 minute. If you want to shoot me an email, you can shoot me an email here. My email address is joe@joeasamoah.com, joe@joeasamoah.com. And as I mentioned earlier on, if you want to book a one-on-one with me, you can go to my website, www.joeasamoah.com, www.joeasamoah.com, and you can press the link to schedule an Ask Dr. Joe one-on-one, where we can do a deep dive into your situation, into your challenges that you may be facing, and hopefully you can leverage on my 35 years worth of experiences, because it's not necessary for you to recreate the wheel. As a great man once said, a wise man learns from his mistakes, or a wise woman learns from her mistakes, but a genius learns from other people's mistakes. So you learn from my mistakes so that way you can be a genius and you don't have to learn from your own mistakes. Why make mistakes if you don't have to? That's my key. That's been the key to my success. And hopefully that's going to be the key to your success as well. So let's get down to the Q&A session today. Let's see what we got. Okay. Greetings, Datu. Hey, Gratu. Greetings from Phoenix, Arizona. I'm sure the weather's beautiful over there. Yep, it was Brandon Turner. Good guy, Brandon. He's a very, very smart guy. And yeah, he's a good guy. He's just got a good heart. Haven't really kept in touch with him for a while, so I really don't know what he's doing these days. But I'm sure he's doing good things. I saw this report. This is from Datu. I saw this report recently that compared major cities, and it states that DC requires the most money to live comfortably. I was surprised. Well, DC is an expensive market. It's not cheap at all. I mean, we're going through some uncertainties right now with the government policies and the desire to cut government jobs and all that kind of stuff. But the bottom line is that it's going to be okay. It's an expensive market. You do need a lot of money. Salaries are higher here because the cost of living is higher. Rents are higher. Section 8 pays higher. $3,000, $4,000, $6,000. Yeah, it's not a cheap place, but it's a good place because it's appreciating markets. And if you buy something, history usually, if you own real estate, history usually tells us that prices will go up over time. But we go through cycles. We go through ups and downs, little dips here and there. But the overall is good. Okay. Daniel, any particular brand or model of LVP? That's a good question. I tell you the ones that I use. There's a store not too far from us, and in Glen Burnie, Maryland. But I mean, this is a national audience, so it may not mean anything to you. I like to go for the thicker ones, not the thin ones. You've got different thicknesses of LVP vinyl. I like the thicker one. And I go to discount places, so you can get good ones at a reasonable price. And I try to use neutral colors, like gray or, and so on. So no particular model, no particular brand. I look for good deals. Depending on the size of the house, obviously, it's going to depend on how much you're going to need. It can be expensive if you've got a large house that you're going to do, but it's generally cheaper than hardwood floors, which are a lot more expensive and so on. And it's durable. It can withstand, a lot of traffic. It's water resistant and scratches and things like that. Okay. Piers 009. I'm now curious to what you have your doctorate in. Okay, what do I have my doctorate in? Oh, okay. I have a PhD in information systems. I have an electrical engineering bachelor's degree. I did a MBA, Master's of Business Administration. I also have a PhD in information systems. I did my dissertation in what we call business process reengineering. What that is that a lot of companies, they want to just put technology on top of an existing process is how they do business. What we realize is that just putting technology for the sake of technology doesn't really solve much problems. You have to understand the underlying issues. It could be process driven. They got inefficient processes. It could be management structure. So you tend to work with all different levels of the organizations, and then once all that's in place, then you can put technology. That's what my dissertation is all about. It's the effective use of technology, IT, in business process reengineering. It's a piece of useless information, I'm sure, but that's what it was. Now that you've asked. Okay, Dow 2. The voucher program still has not paid their portion of April rent. Okay. As of April 1st, they've increased the amount the tenant has to pay by a little less than 5x more, but the program still has not paid their portion. I have contacted them a couple of times, but I've not gotten a response from them yet. Okay, so if I recall last week, you had a situation. So it sounds like you haven't been paid April. And we're in the 9th day of April, so you should have got it. I don't know how they pay in your where you are in Phoenix, but I know where we are, it's electronic into your account. So if you're having some issue with payments, there's usually a point of contact at the housing authority that you should be reaching out to. I don't know the relationships you have there. I strongly believe in developing relationships with key people at the housing authority, because for situations like this, these housing authorities are almost like bureaucracies. It's like a bureaucratic black hole where calls don't get returned, emails don't get answered. It's just very, very frustrating. But if you know people on the inside, then you can usually reach out to them and they can see what they can do because they're on the inside. So hopefully you know some people on the inside, especially in the finance department. They should be able to track as to why you haven't received your money, if it's just you or if it's everybody else. As far as I know, HUD hasn't cut the funding for the Housing Choice Voucher Program, Section 8 program yet. They will, I'm sure, in due course. So I don't know if your local housing authority is impacted by anything changes there. So I don't know, Datu, but my suggestion would be, if you have relationships at the housing authority, then I'll definitely reach out to them. If you don't, then you need to start nurturing those relationships. And there's different ways we can do that. You can do that. I have a pretty foolproof system on developing relationships with housing authority staff. You may want to do a one-on-one with me. It's up to you, where we can do a deep dive, and I can sort of walk you through how I would do it. And it works. This strategy, which I have, works absolutely 100% all the time, and based on experience. Because if you're going to, and this is what's going to happen. I mean, I don't know, but it's based on experience. They're going to cut the funding down to your housing authority. And at some point. Now, what does that mean? It may mean that they're going to stop issuing new vouchers. They're going to maybe stop allowing for rent increases. And they may cut staff. So all this kind of stuff. I mean, who knows? But let's just say they cut staff. What it means is that there are fewer people doing the same amount of work, which means that, people are getting more stressed. Things are going to take longer to get completed. And so on and so on and so on forth. So in that environment, the key to your success, believe me, are relationships. If people are busy, then your paperwork is just on top of a pile somewhere, and they'll get to you when they get to you. And if you don't know anybody, they'll get to you whenever they feel like it. If you have relationships, then you can call people and they'll tell you, let me see what I can do. They'll make some inquiries on your behalf. They'll, lobby on your behalf. They'll advocate on your behalf. It's all about relationships. So I would strongly suggest that you now nurture these relationships. And you're probably going to say, well, how do I do that? And I'm just saying that I think I figured it out. But it's a very intricate process that works. It doesn't matter where it is, where you are in the country, it works. So if you like for me to do a one-on-one with you, we can do it step by step on how it's going to do, how it could work for you. Book a session with me, and I'll walk you through it, and so on. So there's no point being frustrated. If there's things that you can do, it's just not worth it. Life's too short. Leverage, as I said before, leverage my experience. There's no need for you to recreate the wheel. I figured it out. Okay, Nestor Can, what are your thoughts on home equity loans to upgrade your rental? It depends. HELOCs are a great tool. If you have equity in your property, it does allow you to tap into that equity to do things. Now, if you're disciplined, it's great. If you're not disciplined, it's like a credit card, but larger, and you could blow your money on stupid stuff like vacations, nice cars, jewelry, and all this other nonsense. So if you're going to use a line of credit, you want to make sure you buy appreciating assets as opposed to depreciating assets. So, for instance, I got several home HELOCs, and I use them to acquire more properties. So if I have a deal that needs to be done, and they need, let's say $50,000, I need $50,000 to close the deal outside of what the lenders will give me. Then if I have $100,000, let's say, in a line of credit, I can tap into that to get the deal done. And once it's done, if I'm going to keep the house, I'll then refinance and then pay off that $50,000 back. Or if I'm going to sell the property, once it's sold, then you can pay off your line of credit. So it can be a very strategic tool. In terms of upgrading your rentals, which is more specific to your question, it depends what you're going to do. If you're going to get more rent due to the upgrades, then maybe the extra rent could pay part of the HELOC loan down or payments down. But again, be careful. That's a double-edged sword. It can really, really help you, grow your business, but also if you're not careful, it can destroy you as well. Especially when the market changes and it turns on you. And the other thing about home equity lines is that sometimes you get them and the banks will cut them off at short notice, with no notice really. So you're thinking you got $100,000 line of credit and the market changes and they cancel that line of credit immediately. So now you have zero and so on. So it can be pulled at very short notice. And so just be careful. But I think that generally that can be a good thing if you're disciplined, if you do it right, and if there are emergencies that you just don't have the funds, then you can tap into that, take care of the emergency, and then when the cloud has gone away, you can pay that loan back or the HELOC back. Piers 009, I'm sure he knows his stuff, but he flaunts his wealth, and I'm curious as if his program is more of a grift than about helping people. Okay. I'm not really a guy who flaunts wealth. I mean, I don't do that. I'm a guy who's very low key. I live a pretty low key kind of life. I got a 2008 car, live in an average house. But I do believe in the power of real estate. And I learned that very early, that if you can own appreciating assets, then generally it's in your interest, as opposed to buying depreciating assets, which is what most people do. I'm doing this program, really, this Wealth Wednesday. I'm not making any money out of it at all. It's just that I enjoy educating people. I mean, I've got a lot of experience, and real world experience, not book experience, real world experience. I love what I do. I really enjoy it. I think it's a great business. I'm so happy that I got into real estate when I did. I've met people who I used to work with in the corporate world. There's nothing wrong with the corporate world, and you need a job, and you should work hard at your job. But don't put all your eggs in the corporate basket. You need to do something independently to take care of your interests, because the company will take care of their interests. You need to take care of your interests, and you can't rely on them to be looking out for you. That's just the way it is. There are people now going through, as you see every day, Doge. I mean, they're laying people 5,000, 10,000 people off just like that. And most of those people worked hard and they did the right thing, but they just let go due to situations or decisions way above their pay grade. That's just the reality of it all. So my take is that, what are you going to do to protect your interest? It's not really, I mean, people ask me how many houses do I have? That's not really important. The issue is, what do you have? What are you doing? What actions are you taking to protect your to build your financial independence goal? What are you doing? And if you're not doing anything, then you need to have some you need to start taking some action, because it's not in your interest to do nothing, and so on. So I don't need to do all what I'm doing because I'm okay. But I really do enjoy helping people. I find it, great. I enjoy what I do. As I said, I do a lot of Section 8. Most of my tenants are Section 8. So I try to do good for them. And the proof is that the tenants stay a long time. In fact, today, I went to one of my houses today. Spent some time with one of my tenants today, in fact, this afternoon. She has been with me. I was surprised. She's been with me 16 years. 16 years. Now let's think about that. You have somebody who's staying in your house for 16 years. She has a voucher. And so she, I'm a very, approachable kind of person. I know her. I know her family. I know her husband and her children. And I've seen them grow. And she feels very comfortable with me. She's happy in her home. And she wants to stay there longer. The rent there is $4,800 is the rent for her house. And I've owned that house for over 30 something years. So the loan has been paid off. Okay. And so, that's a lot of potential cash flow there. But more importantly, the assets is appreciating in value to the, from when I bought it to what it is during that period of time. So she's allowed me to build wealth. And it's a win-win. She's happy. She's in a nice home in a decent area. She's taking care of my home. She pays the rent. And she's pleasant to deal with. And she wants to stay longer. I'm happy because I have somebody who's taking care of my home. Somebody who's happy. Somebody who, is building me wealth. And the house is appreciated during that time since I've owned it, at least $600,000 at least. Again, that's not to brag because it's not necessary for me to brag anything. It's just that's the power of real estate. But you can only do that if you have good tenants and you know how to take care of tenants, because otherwise you'll have a revolving door of turnover, which will wipe out all your costs. And you're thinking you're making money. You're not making any money. You'll get frustrated. There's nothing worse than having, bad tenants. And then you want to exit this business. So, yeah, it's not about bragging. I don't need to flaunt anything. I really don't. It's not important to me. I'm not that kind of materialistic kind of person. It's all about creating win-wins. And that's what I do. So, yeah. Okay. At Pearson, I think you're in the wrong chat. I think you are at Pearson. I think you must be talking about somebody else. Dr. Joe, with the current market situation, are you currently adding to your portfolio? Are you selling? I know you have a lot of properties. I mean, I have a lot of houses. I really don't need any more, to tell you the truth. I've got enough. I'm at peace with that. At some point, enough's enough. So I'm not actively buying anything else. I mean, if something comes up, yeah, I'll buy it, but I'm not really aggressively buying. I passed through that phase. I've passed the growth phase where I was building my portfolio. Now it's preserving and protecting the portfolio. But if I was aggressively buying, this is the time to buy. It really is, when the market is soft and there's less competition. You don't have those crazy bidding wars that that we had during the heyday. And there's some opportunities if you are ready psychologically, financially, and you're there. Then this is a good time to do that. There's going to be some good opportunities, especially during this market uncertainty that's taking place right now. Black Fire Freedom, what are your thoughts what are your thoughts on having a handyman? You got to have a handyman if you're in rental properties. Somebody that can just go out there and take care of little things, because little stuff happens, little leak here, little issue there, and so on. So it's good to be able to pick up the phone, call somebody who's reliable, and they can take care of things. I have, for my properties, we have several things. I have home warranties on all my properties for the big stuff, that the big electrical, plumbing, HVAC appliances, and things like that. And then for items that are not covered by the warranty, then I have a handyman or carpenter who takes care of those little things. Let's have a look. Maybe just trying to learn more about Section 8. Is this not educating about that? Piers 009. I do all types of topics. Okay. And I primarily focus on real estate investing for buy and hold. I specialize in the BRRRR strategy and kind of fine tune it to Section 8. I found a niche in Section 8. I think it's a wonderful program. It's a great program if you understand how that program works. If you don't understand that program works, it's a disaster. So what I try to do is to share with people the practical side, the implementation side of doing this. It's not just about Section 8. It's about building financial independence through real estate investing. I'm doing real estate. I'm doing renovations today. Why? Because savvy investors buy properties that are in bad condition or needs work, get a discount, and then do some improvements, and then force equity or force the appreciation. That's what savvy investors do, as opposed to buying, properties that's already in, moving condition. That's why I'm doing renovations. We're savvy investors here today. Hopefully you're learning something from today. I'll be doing some more topics. Every week has a different topic. So we're going to touch on Section 8 in more details. Well, you can go to my past recordings. I've been doing this for about four years. I've got about 250 episodes. So you can go back. You'll find some things there. Okay. Apologies. I've cluttered the chat. Well, there's nothing to apologize for. Everyone's entitled to their opinion and so on. Nesta, Dr. Joe, I know you don't recommend what I'm about to tell you, but I've used cheap contractors from the sites like Angie's List and Thumbtack. They are basically handymen, but they get the job done. You can, sometimes you get what you pay for. I said before, I've had guys who show up drunk or guys who don't even show up at all. Or guys that don't have a car, so you got to take them to the Home Depot. You got to pick them up from bed. It's crazy. As I said before, the cheapest guy is not always the best guy. I'm at the point now where I don't have a problem paying a little bit more and getting quality people who can get the job done without drama, and that way I can keep moving. One of our properties right now is rental properties. We're upgrading the kitchen and bathrooms, and just decided it's time to do that. I got contractors doing it. No drama, no worries. It's getting done. That's how it should be. So you can focus on more important things rather than chasing and arguing and fighting with contractors, unless you enjoy that kind of stuff. I don't think you do. At least I don't anyway. I'm house hacking my tenants. My tenants pay on time and sometimes early, good, but they are always nitpicking about little things a lot. Okay, I just on the positive that they pay, but how else can I cope with this? House hacking is a good strategy. One of the first houses I bought was house hacking. I was doing house hacking before the term became popular. The bottom line for me was that I need to reduce my housing costs. And so I bought a house, lived in one room, rented the other 2 rooms out. I rented the basement. So essentially I was living in that house for free. In fact, I was making money. And so the money that I ordinarily would have paid the mortgage, I'd save. And therefore, I was able to drive my housing costs down to 0. And so I saved, and then used that money saved to buy the next house and kept on going. So house hacking is a great strategy. There are some challenges. You're living with potential tenants, and you don't have 100% privacy of your home. But it's a means to an end. I think that depends on your personality. If you can set some rules, if you can set some ground rules, I think I call them, if you can set them sort of house rules, that's what I call it. Up front with your tenants about do's and don'ts. Then I think, and you screen well. That's the key. You screen well. And I think, it can be a great strategy. And if you want some help on that stuff, book a one-on-one with me where, again, I can give you some more details about screening, house rules, share with you what I've done in the past, what's worked for me, what hasn't worked. And we can do a more deep dive, into your situation. Okay. Any thoughts about flipping properties in Detroit? I don't live in Detroit. I don't invest in Detroit, but so I can't really advise you about Detroit specifically. I know there are people that do. Maybe worthwhile, maybe worth your while to do some research, find out who the players are in Detroit area. Maybe there could be a local real estate investment association group that you could meet and that you could attend and speak to some people there. Go on the Bigger Pockets podcast and maybe meet some, not podcasts, forums. And you could possibly meet some people, put a post out there. Someone could respond, and then hopefully you can network that way. But flipping in general, it's a strategy. It works, but you have to be careful in a changing market, especially if the market is soft, because you could spend a lot of money fixing up a house and you can't offload it. And then you got debt like hard money to reckon with. Let's have a look. Ryan DeCook. I'm looking to get started with Section 8 in Toledo, Ohio. It was my first rental. My main goal is cash flow and set myself to get more properties. Okay. And recommendations on the first property to look for. So what I would do, Ryan, is to find out the local in Toledo, the local housing authority that has jurisdiction in where you are. I will definitely give them a call. Many times they have what we call orientation, landlord orientation. They're always trying to encourage landlords to participate in the program. So there should be an orientation session run by the housing authority that you can attend. So you should register for that, attend, learn more about how it works in Toledo, how they do it, because Section 8 is a federal program, but it's administered locally by the local housing authority. And so you want to, understand how they do it there. You also want to know what the rents are in Toledo and typically Section 8, the rents are based on two things. The location of the property, it could be the zip code, it could be the neighborhood, whatever it is, location, and then the number of bedrooms. So if you have a 2-bedroom, you get one set of rents. 3 bedrooms, 4 bedrooms, 5, you get difference. So the more bedrooms, the more rent that you could potentially get. So in terms of your first property, I would say go to the housing authority, understand how the program works. If you want to, because we don't have much time. You can book a one-on-one with me where we can do a more detailed deep dive as to next steps that you can take. We'll put together a game plan, and I'll kind of walk you through what you have to do. We just don't have the time because it's almost 7:58. We're gonna wrap it up in 2 minutes. Shoot out, what's it called? Book a one-on-one with me, Ryan. I'd be more than happy to do a deep dive. Again, for everyone here, I'm not trying to peddle this thing. I'm just trying to say there's no need to recreate the wheel. There isn't. It doesn't make any sense to me. An hour spent with me could save you 20 hours of frustration, and to me, it's a good ROI. I like Detroit. Everyone is sleeping in the Motor City. I'll buy and hold in Detroit. Dan Gilbert is building up the city. Okay. Great Nesta, Silas. Okay, I think it's we didn't finish. Unfortunately, we didn't finish all the questions. I got more questions here. So we're gonna have to wrap it up. It's 8:00, and I will be here next Wednesday at 7 p.m. live. And with a different topic, and I'm not sure what the topic for next week is, but it's going to be a great one. So join me 7 p.m. Eastern time, and look forward to seeing you. And again, if you have any questions, you can shoot me an email. I'm at joe@joeasamoah.com, joe@joeasamoah.com. And if you want to book a one-on-one with me, where we can do a deep dive into your situation, you can go to my website, www.joeasamoah.com. www.joeasamoah.com, and we can do you can book a session where we can do a deep dive. Otherwise, I'll see you next Wednesday, 7 p.m. Take care. Have a good one. Bye for now.